Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 11 of the Giro d'Italia 2023. Today's stage, 219 kilometers long, about 140 miles in length, with 3 categorized climbs on today's race. Now, the last categorized climb is only a category 4, but it's going to summit about 40 kilometers before today's flat finish all the way into the sprint after that last KOM. Now, what's going to happen in today's race? Well, we see there's already a bunch of chaos and a bunch of more positive COVIDs here at the Giro d'Italia as we see Pseudo Quick-Step get hit again with riders going home. They're going to start today's stage with only 3 riders starting the Giro here on stage 11. That's a big time hit that COVID took here on Pseudo Quick-Step, with Remco Evenepoel leaving in the pink and now half of their team disappearing right here on stage 11. But they still do got some quality riders left because they got Ballerini here, Davide Ballerini, who's a sprinter. Then they have Peter Siri, and of course they have Van Wilder starting. So they got some guys for the climbing stages still to go in this late week here of the Giro. And they got Davide Ballerini for a field sprint here on stage 11 if that's what the teams want. Well, they'll get through the neutral section, then the racing will start, and 6 riders will go up the road. And that group is Thomas Champion from Cofidis, Lawrence Rex from Intermarché, Filippo Maglia from Green Project, Alexander Konishev from Corotec, along with his teammate Stojnovic, and one last rider, Iolo Cometa Sevilla. Those 6 riders, they're not going to be given a whole lot of time, so we know right away when we start seeing the sprinter teams on the front back there. Trek Segafredo's interested, Bahrain Victorious is interested, and Mark Cavendish's Astana team's interested. So those 3 teams are on the front throughout the whole first part of this stage 11. Now, with that in mind, they're going to keep the gap all the way at about 3 minutes maximum, but most of the time it's fluctuating between 2 and 3 minutes throughout the stage. Couple KOM classifications that Stojnovic from Corotec is going to blow all of his breakaway companions apart for to steal maximum points, and he's going to take sprint time bonuses. He's going to take basically every line sprint there is before we get to the finish of today's 11 in the breakaway of 6 riders. But when they go over the category 3 climb with the long descent, that's when things start getting really crazy here at the Giro d'Italia. They're coming down the descent. We see the breakaway going through a right turn there, and then the camera's going to go back as the peloton was going through a left. There's a big, massive crash back there, and all of the favorites, we're talking first, second, and third on the general classification, are down in this crash immediately. What happens when I dissect it? Well, you back up the film a little bit. You see it's Alexander Covey, UAE team members, going in to the left turn here, going down the descent. He's coming from dry roads to wet roads because it had started raining as they were going up this category 3 climb. Now coming down the backside, the road's wet and dry and spots all over. Alexander Covey hits the wet spot. He loses it. Luckily for Geraint Thomas, as he slides into him, Geraint Thomas, look at the picture there, he's going to land right on top of Covey and ride Covey's body all the way to the side of the road. Then he's going to jump up and start taking off. What happened behind him? Well, we see it's Primoz Roglic, second on the general classification. Jumbo-Visma, big-time favorite to win here at the Giro when it's all said and done. He went down too. You see him hit the wet section. As the riders in front were slipping, we see that Primoz Roglic, he slips too and has no option but goes down and slides all the way across the road. Behind him, it was Ineos chaos all over the place as Pavel Sivakov went down straight into Primoz Roglic, and those guys went down, and then all of Ineos is stuck over on the side of the road. We look just a little bit forward in that carnage there, and we see the pink race jersey, Geraint Thomas. He grabs his bike, jumps back on the road, looks over real quick at the carnage that's happening just up the hill from him, but gets on his bike and heads back to the peloton. We see Primoz Roglic. He's got a little bit of bike problem. He lifts his bike up. He realizes it must be broken, and he just drops it straight there on the Theo Gegenhardt's bike. Now, we'll see Koen Bouwman stop in the middle of the road. He'll hand his bike over to his race leader, Primoz Roglic, and Roglic is off down the hill trying to catch the peloton. What's happening back there in the carnage that's still left on the side of the road, though, is Theo Gegenhardt, third on the general classification, 5 seconds behind his teammate Geraint Thomas when the stage started. Well, he's not getting up at all. We see Pavel Sivakov over there next to the hillside sitting down now because he's got up. He's looked over at Theo Gegenhardt, knows his man there is hurt. There's nothing he can do to help him out. Now he's sitting down on the side of the road hoping he can get some recovery. He's going to lose a ton of time, Pavel Sivakov, and drop him straight out of any chance for the general classification here at the Giro. Teo Gegenhardt will not get up from this accident. They're going to take him out in the ambulance, and that's going to be the end of his Giro. They said later after the race that he had a fractured pelvis, I believe is what they really brought down his main injuries to be. Now up front, when we see, once everyone starts getting back up there, we got the race jersey in pink. He'll make it back up there. Primoz Roglic will make it back up there. But before they do, there's another crash at the front of the road. What happened? It's Movistar's Oscar Rodriguez that went down. Best I can tell, it's a little dark here trying to figure out the pictures, but it looks like Trek Segafredo was over on the left, Oscar Rodriguez was in the middle, and Bahrain Victorious, as they were coming through a left bend, Bahrain Victorious moved a little bit inside, and I think Oscar Rodriguez was moving a little bit outside. They overlapped wheels. Oscar Rodriguez crashes, hits the signpost, and then hits the house and bounces back onto the street. This will end his Giro 2 for Oscar Rodriguez, as he won't finish today's stage 11 of the Giro. Now, everyone else will get back up to the front of the group at some point in time as they're coming down this descent. And we have one more KOM in store for the peloton that's going to leave some interesting things to talk about. Up front, the Breakaway 6, when they hit this Category 4 climb with about 45 kilometers to go, it starts to blow up all over the place as Stojnovic is going 100% up for the KOM and again taking maximum KOM points and prize money here at the Giro Stage 11. He's got some company right behind him with Lawrence Rex there and Thomas Champion from Cofidis that's struggling to follow the two riders in front, but they'll go over 3 eventually starting this crazy descent. Now, what's happening in the peloton behind? Well, we saw the sprinter teams on the front, and then all of a sudden, Jaco Alula got on the front, and they started wanting to do some damage. I don't know if this was really planned at this moment, because when you see the one rider at the front, Lucas Polstelberger, he's all on his own and gapped the peloton. Now all of a sudden, Filippo Zana, his teammate, the Italian national champ, he's looking left, he's looking right over his shoulder, looking left, looking right some more, not getting on the gas because clearly he's waiting for the peloton and some of his teammates to come up to his wheel. Filippo Zana will get up there and he'll start setting a blistering pace, going to blow the peloton up on this Category 4 climb, going to leave about 20 riders, another 10 riders chasing, and then some more gaps with other riders chasing. He'll go over the top of the KOM full gas with about 30 riders in this front group, and we see Mark Cavendish's Stanas coming off the back with about 500 meters to go at this KOM, but he's got teammates wrapped all around him with Luis Leon Sanchez looking back, waiting for the British road champion as he's trying to get his sprinter Mark Cavendish to the front group. Now they're going down the descent, and Filippo Zana's on the front. What am I thinking right now when I was watching this? Filippo Zana, you're a knucklehead. Jaco Alula, you guys are knuckleheads. The commentators who were getting all excited and commending Jaco Alula for doing such a great attack here on this Category 4 climb with 40 kilometers to go, you guys are knuckleheads. What are you going to achieve, Filippo Zana, when you're going down the descent? When you look at the group, it's about 30 guys. Trek Segafredo's there, but guess what? They only got 2 guys, so they're not going to ride on the front with you, Zana, because they've been riding all day. Movistar's not really represented up here at all, so they're going to be fighting to get back on. We know Astana back there with Mark Cavendish is going full on down the descent. Now when we look at the front of the peloton, you see Zana, you see he's got one teammate on his wheel, but who's that? Well, that's Eddie Dunbar. Eddie Dunbar's in the top 10 of the general classification, and when Teo Gegenhardt crashed out, that moved him up higher in the top 10. And when Pavel Sivakov couldn't get back on his bike because he's hurting too much, he's going to drop out of the top 10. Now Eddie Dunbar's sitting top 10 on the general classification. He's not going to pull up there in a group of 30 riders with Trek Segafredo, Mads Pedersen still in this group. There's no way. So who is going to pull with you? One guy from Jaco Alula. It looked impressive when you're going up the climb, but all I'm thinking, you guys are knuckleheads. There's no way this will work. Well, DeMarque will get on the front for just a short time, and then you see him on the radio. Certainly the director's back there like, guys, this isn't going to work. We got nobody up here that can pull because Michael Matthews, our sprinter's not going to pull. Eddie Dunbar, I told you, he's top 10. He's not going to pull. And Filippo Zana, you don't have those kind of legs to pull all the way into the finish and hold off full sprint teams back there chasing like Team Astana and all the other guys who are gapped off going up this climb. It was impressive. Worthless piece of energy to go up this climb and do it. But when you're dropping down the descent and you look at how hard he's taking these corners down this descent, for something that will absolutely have almost no chance of making it unless you're just hoping guys are going to crash down the descent. That's always an option. But remember, Eddie Dunbar, your rider in the top 10 in general classification, he doesn't like going through the corners either, so he might be one of the casualties when you come down this climb. And this is what causes a lot of stress in the peloton, is riders doing these knucklehead tactics. And of course, the commentators, when you're listening to it, they're applauding it because we're bored sitting on the couch. We want to see some more chaos, right? So everybody back there is applauding it, but when you look at it in the math, there's nobody left for Jaco Alula to pull all the way into the finish. So this really has no chance of working. And let's say that it does work because everybody back there crashes down the descent, and somehow the top 30 here in this front group over the KOM can somehow manage to get down to the bottom all in one piece. Well, Jaco Alula, then all that's going to happen is going to be attacks all over the place, and they're not going to be able to cover everything. So you just caused a bunch of chaos for no reason. Filippo Zana coming down this hill. Hopefully it was your director back there that was the knucklehead, not the rider himself, but either way, it'll all come back together, as of course you knew it would. And when they get all back together, we look up at the front, and it's only two riders because Thomas Champion from Cofidis, he decided this was enough of a risk because we're not going to win anyway, so he sat up. Now we got two riders in the front with 20 kilometers to go. We're going to see Lawrence Rex, Intermarché rider. He's going to get rid of Stojnovic from Koratek, and now he's going solo. The peloton's wrapped up everybody from the original break of 6 with the exception of Lawrence Rex, who's going solo up the road. Now we're coming into about 16 kilometers to go. Sepp Kuss from Jumbo-Visma, he's going to have some problems, going to have to get a bike change, but he gets it done quick, and we'll see him get back up to the peloton just about 1.5, 2 kilometers later. We start coming in to the final 7 kilometers, and we're going to see FDJ on the front. There it is. It's Thibaut Pinot's team, FDJ on the front. Earlier in the day before the race started, he was playing soccer outside of the bus. Now he's got his team on the front with 7.5 kilometers to go. And Lawrence Rex, with just about 6, knows that he's going to get caught as he feels the heat from the peloton going curb to curb behind as they've almost caught the Intermarché rider. Now they'll start wrapping him up with about 5 kilometers to go, and everything's together for a stage victory here for the sprinters if they can keep their bikes upright, because the road is still a little bit crazy when we come into the finish of today's stage 11. Now the next attack's going to come from Quarterman as he throws in the attack for Koratek with 3 kilometers to go. That'll get brought back from Bora Hansgrohe. 2 riders from Bora Hansgrohe at the front will bring back Koratek, and then just coming under 2 kilometers to go, you know why Bora Hansgrohe wanted to be at the front. They'll come into the first roundabout chicane as they fly through there, keeping both their riders safe. What's happening in the back as you come out of this roundabout, we're going to see Johnny Milan and Cavendish get a little bit tight there, maybe a little bit of tire rubbing there for Johnny Milan on the back wheel of Mark Cavendish. Might cost a little bit of energy. Now all of a sudden we look at the front of the peloton, look further back in the picture there on the right side of the road, there's a crash. Now let's back the camera up again and look at it from the aerial view. What was happening? They came out of this roundabout, it narrowed up with the island on the left side, and Fernando Gaviria overlapped with Sutherland's wheel. Once they overlapped, both those 2 riders went down, and that'll cost Fernando Gaviria any chance to win a stage here at the Giro d'Italia, at least for stage 11. Now up front, though, we see Bora Hansgrohe riders. They're starting to pull off the front, but the peloton is small. About probably 50, 60 riders here at the front. It's definitely small in size. And then all of a sudden, Bora Hansgrohe start coming off. Now we see the left side coming up the road. Trek Segafredo's over there. But we're going to see Iolo Cometa come from the right, and they're going to take over control at the front with just 2 riders for Vincenzo Albanese. Now they're up front for just a small time as we see Trek Segafredo come flying up the left side, and we're basically at 1 kilometer to go. Up front is Dan Uhl, second wheel Alex Kirsch, then Mads Pedersen. He's already won a stage here at the Giro d'Italia, sitting third. Only thing happens though right now with 900 meters to go, Dan Uhl's had enough. You see the chicken arms come out. He's flapping them fast because he knows he's just used every chip he had to get to the front of the peloton, and this is bad math planning right here from Trek Segafredo, because there's no way Alex Kirsch can take Mads Pedersen all the way to the finish for a win here at stage 11 on his own. Now Trek Segafredo have to back off the gas a little bit, and when they do, DSM attack. But let me back the film up just again to that 900 meters as we see Pasqualone And Johnny Milan, the winner here already earlier at the Giro, he decides to leave his lead-out man and moves over to the center to get on Mark Cavendish's wheel, and he leaves Pasqualon. You see Pasqualon look a little bit to the left, and he's like thinking, oh, Johnny, you're leaving me at 900 meters to go? Well, he left him. Then with the attack with DSM rider, just shortly after that, about 850 meters to go, we see all of a sudden Jago Lula slides up on there onto the DSM rider's wheel. We see two Trek Segafredos, that's Alex and Mads Pedersen, followed by Cavendish behind. And Johnny Milan's getting a little boxed in and getting a little pushed back. Now UAE team members are coming up the left side of the road. This is Ryan Gibbons. Ryan Gibbons, after they catch the DSM rider as the bump in the road starting with about 700 meters to go, Ryan Gibbons looks back over his shoulder a couple times. He sees that his sprinter back there, Pascal Ackermann, is still back there, and he's going to punch it with about 700 meters to go because he knows that 450 meters to go is the last right turn here on stage 11. Now 500 meters, they got a little bend to the left. We see it's Ryan Gibbons there, solid in first position. Trek Segafredo somehow have been saved here with the attack from DSM, and now with the work here from Ryan Gibbons on the front, DSM are sitting second. We're getting ready to go into this final corner with about 450 meters to go. That'll exit 400 meters from the straight shot all the way into the line here at stage 11. Well, as they come into this final corner, Ryan Gibbons is first through there. Alex Kirsch is second, coming up the inside just slightly behind him. But then look over to the outside there. Well, who's that? That's Mads Pedersen, Trek Segafredo, and he makes his first mistake. Guys, when you're racing, stages at this big of race at the Giro and basically anywhere else, but these big ones, you can't afford mistakes. You can make mistakes from kilometer 0, you can make mistakes at kilometer 150 and mistakes at kilometer 100, but once you get into 400 meters to go, coming out of the last corner, I have a stage sprint here at the Giro, you can't make mistakes. Alex Kirsch is a little bit overlapped there with Ryan Gibbons' wheel on the outside left side there. That means he's going to have to back off the throttle, right? Well, as they're coming out of this final last bend up front, Alex Kirsch, he knows he's going full gas because now the math works, right? 400 meters, pull to 200, 150, and then drop Mads Pedersen off at the front. Only problem is Mads Pedersen had to back off the throttle, like I said. Now you have Ryan Gibbons on the wheel there of Alex Kirsch, and you got Mads Pedersen, who's out in the wind going full gas, trying to win here at stage 11, but he's already behind the 8 ball. It doesn't look like it from the film, but trust me, he's behind the 8 ball when you're in the wind with 400 meters to go. Now coming through that corner, you saw Cavendish back there, and if you look way back there as we come through that final right, guess who's there? It's Johnny Milan, but he's sitting like 10th, 9th wheel back there. He's in big time trouble. Let me back the film up as they come out of this corner again, and look just in front of him. Davide Ballerini and Michael Matthews went hard into each other into the left side of the fencing there. That opened up a gap for Johnny Milan. Even though he's way back there, he's going to start his sprint early here at 400 meters to go. We go up to the front with 300 meters to go. Mads Pedersen's up there with Alex Kirsch. He's going full gas past his lead-out man who really didn't lead him out here on this stage 11. Full gas, starting his sprint. Started at 400, but now he's starting this real sprint at 300 as he's going full gas. Mark Cavendish, second wheel right there on Mads Pedersen, and then on his wheel, Pascal Ackermann from UAE Team Emirates. Well, when Mads Pedersen started his acceleration, it opened up a gap between the third and fourth rider back there, Iolo Cometa Albanese, and that's going to help Johnny Milan, who's coming fast from the left side of the road. But Mark Cavendish has started his sprint at 200 meters. He's moved out to the left. He's flying up fast on Mads Pedersen because Pedersen's already 250 meters into his sprint. Well, Mark Cavendish going full gas. He starts coming up side by side there with Mads Pedersen. Then on the left side, who started his sprint at 150, we look over there. Who's that? It's Pascal Ackermann. Well, Ackermann at 100 meters to go, and we're going 3 wide now. We're talking about Pascal Ackermann on the left, Cavendish there that's going neck and neck with Pascal Ackermann. Mads Pedersen starting to fade. Once we get 75 meters, Pascal Ackermann's going neck and neck with Cavendish, and then at about 50 meters to go, he starts getting a little bit of a nudge. 30 meters to go, he's taken over Cavendish, but look all the way over on the left side of the road. It's Johnny Milan. He's starting to come in the picture. 10 meters to go. It's a two-way fight, and it's Pascal Ackermann and Johnny Milan that are going all the way to the line with a bike throw. At the bike throw at the line, Pascal Ackermann starts to celebrate. But look over there at the finger there from Johnny Milan. He's waving it because he thinks he won today's stage 2. You look at the picture from up above, can't tell who won. You look at the picture from the front, you can't tell who won. You look at the picture just after they're crossing the white line. Well, it looks like Johnny Milan won today's race for Bahrain Victorious, but let's back it up all the way and look at the real picture that matters. Pascal Ackermann takes today's stage 11 in a nail-biter throw all the way to the line to beat Johnny Milan for second, and Mark Cavendish, who led all the way to about 75-50 meters to go. That faded will round out the podium. Mads Pedersen will get fourth, which is a solid ride for a guy who let it out basically from 400 meters. Impressive ride for Mads Pedersen. Second place on the stage, though, Johnny Milan. He's not going to be a little upset about losing the stage, but he'll gain some more points on the Purple Sprint Leaders jersey here at the Giro. Now, when they're talking the general classification, everybody got same time that was involved in the crash back there, just under 2 kilometers to go after that first roundabout. So we know Geraint Thomas will start in pink when we're talking about tomorrow's stage 12 of the Giro. Primoz Roglic, who did hurt his hip, it looked like had some road rash there on the left side of his hip, will finish and hold on to a second. But Teo Gegenhardt's out, so all of a sudden that's moving the top 10 guys that were just back there that much closer, and has completely affected the strategic racing here that Ineos would have had plans once we get into these mountain stages. So when we see the interview from Geraint Thomas, he agrees with what I said. The strategy is going to change a little bit because you lost Teo Gegenhardt and you've knocked Pavel Sivakov out of the top 10 by 10, 15 minutes here on this stage 11 when he finally crossed the line. A lot of stuff happened in today's race. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown of the last 2 kilometers here on the Butterfly Effect. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next edition real soon for stage 12 of the Giro.